Just whatever happens. Just
Whatever happens.
go with the flow.
All right. Right, so
It's like 11 in the morning. I'm usually still asleep now, but
well, you've got a record coming out, haven't you?
I do have a
That's
record.
why you rang, because we thought, hey, let's have a bit of a chit chat. I'm going to be surprised. I hope there's nothing that's going to embarrass me.
How is it that we started working together?
Together. Gosh, that's quite interesting, isn't it? Well, it was right by the lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah, I See Us in Heaven came out in February, so it was around February, I think. Yeah, it's been a while.
I remember your dad got in touch with me, because I know your dad from years back, don't I? It was a kind of really happy accident how we met, even though I'm living here. And so he phoned me up and said that he's got this incredible daughter called Cathy who records music. Well, she doesn't record music, she writes songs. I think he was going to surprise you with a birthday present or something, where he thought, I want to get something where she can start recording. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I got a call about a year later saying, do you remember that Scarlett that bought Cathy? She's been really busy. And I thought, wow, God, that sounds great. One of the tracks, you were having some trouble with the drums. Do you remember the timing was
always
weird?
The drums. I can never get the drums right. I can do everything else, like piano, the guitar, and all the layers of synths or whatever, but like the beat, which is like one of the most important parts, I can never get. So yeah, it was probably that.
What you'd recorded was really good. So I remember thinking, well, send me something over, and then I heard it and thought, wow, that's a great song. And
was that I See Us in Heaven?
That was I See Us in Heaven. I think you gave me permission to go, you know what, if you want to do something on it. And I think I stayed up all night that night and just had this mega session. God, I'm really into this. I'll just keep on trucking. And then by the morning, I had this idea that I thought, God, I hope she likes it.
When I first heard it, I was surprised because it was like an acoustic song, and hearing like the vocal effect that you did at the start, really like, I was like, what? It just worked so well. It was a great experience. It was like the first thing that I worked on remotely as well.
And I've never done that before. I've never worked in that way. Could have been a disaster.
I was surprised how quickly you got the vibe. You know, we didn't talk that much about it. It was just pretty instant, which was really cool. How did you sort of get into music? Was it something that you always loved to do?
It was a bit like you. At one point, I remember saying to my parents, we always had a piano in the house. I always just made songs up. I did learn to play music, but I gave up quite early and when I was quite young. Got a 4-track and started making my own songs on that. And so you just had 4 songs and a tape down. But it was amazing.
Oh, that's so cool. I feel so authentic and like real.
I couldn't believe you even layer stuff.
Wow.
So how about you then? How did you get on with writing your songs? Because all I know is that you got yourself your interface, and then a year later you'd made all these songs.
It felt pretty natural. Like when I was 8 or 9, actually, I started writing songs and like actually writing them down. And they were all terrible. I like worshipped Taylor Swift as well. She was like my biggest idol, and so I watched all her documentaries and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna be Taylor Swift when I'm older. Also, like, I was forced to play instruments. I did piano for a bit, I did violin for a bit, I did like recorder, the accordion, I did all of those, but I pretty much quit doing all of them when I was 8 or 9. I started harp when I was 6 and my mom didn't let me quit that. And I'm really glad she didn't, because I love it now.
Yeah, I've seen you playing it on the World Wide Web. It's amazing. And you've put some of those bits in some of the tracks as well. We've had still in there.
Yeah, and I See Us in Heaven. I try to include it as much as possible in my music, just to have that sort of extra little bit. But yeah, I'm so glad I didn't. Mom didn't let me drop it, because it's such a beautiful instrument. I didn't start guitar until I was 9 or 10 anyway, but that really helped with songwriting. I think if you want to be a songwriter, it's really difficult if you don't play an instrument. It's way easier to have that sort of musical knowledge there. But yeah.
Yeah, you've written some great songs on the guitar. I think I'm pretty bad at the guitar. I've never really played it that much. But, you know, I can play a few chords here and there. And I suppose what you can do is what you can do.
Yeah,
and what you did, what I was really impressed with when you sent me those songs, is you just basically just thought, I'm going to make some songs, and you did. And you got yourself GarageBand, and you got yourself an interface, and you got yourself a mic, and just wrote some great stuff. And sometimes we can really overcomplicate things, I think, in the process, and where it's supposed to go and how we're going to sell it. And
yeah, just at the end of the day, like, music is just something fun. I'm sure it's the same for you. It's just
Yeah.
a hobby that I love to do. Writing songs is just, I guess it's just like therapeutic, you know? Writing down everything you think and all your emotions, relieving a burden. So I think it's just something I love to do. I never really even thought about, oh, how are we going to sell it? How are we going to promote it? It's more like I'm just writing songs for the fun of it, and I love doing it. So tell me a bit about your studio setup.
The room's kind of great room, but it sounded a bit echoey, so I had to basically treat it and put all this sort of acoustic treatment around it. So it's quite sort
of.
What
are those? Are those like sound panels? Or?
Yeah.
My room is just a bedroom, so every time I record vocals, you can hear the birds outside. You can like hear my brother playing the harp downstairs.
It's like Motown when all the mics overspilled into stuff. It just must create the extra vibe you've been going for.
I guess, yeah. Green Screen began with one of your backing tracks. So how did you feel when you first heard what I did with it?
Wow, that's a great question. Do you know what? I thought it was amazing. I'm not just saying that. When you just picked that track, I thought, wow, it'd be really interesting to see what you did with it. But I knew it would be great because everything we've done so far, I've just really liked what you did, what you've done. But I had no expectation of what you'd do. But I was actually really impressed. I had like a middle 8 section and you topped it up a little bit. And you turned that into the chorus. It wasn't the chorus in my track. I had these kind of like bridges that kind of were a chorus. A bit like your track, I See Us in Heaven. We were talking about you haven't really got a chorus in that track. It's a really interesting way of writing. When you put your vocals on, it was really quite a very interesting way of approaching it. And I was really impressed with it.
Every time I listen to like a backing track that I want to write a song on, I record a voice memo, just completely improvised the first time I listened to it. And most of Green Screen is actually improvised. I can send it to you actually.
That'd be amazing.
When I listen back to the first demo I ever did, most of the things are the same, like the verse and the chorus.
The other 2 tracks, when we were talking about how we produced that track, they were a little bit more lo-fi in a way. You were saying about the production on I See Us in Heaven, I didn't try and make that sound too shiny, too hi-fi, too posh. I made those beats quite crunchy, a little bit kind of, it wasn't slick. I kind of thought it had a nice vibe where I thought, you know what, this doesn't have to sound like it's too pop. Whereas this track, I mean, the vocal you sent me, all 88 of them. The vocals.
The harmonies.
They were really well recorded and just sounded great. I mean, I didn't touch them much. No, I was really pleased with it. Honestly, I think you did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. Oh, okay. Your production is obviously very cool.
Thanks.
Contemporary. Are there any sort of current artists that you're inspired by?
I sometimes find it really hard to pick someone out, but I think James Blake's pretty amazing actually. I really like a lot of his stuff. I like how kind of weird and experimental some of the backing tracks are, and the things he does with his voice is like really kind of purely melodic and soulful. And a bit like when you were just telling me, I was just singing into my phone a whole load of gobbledygook nonsense. And that was my inspiration for Green Screen. I like how someone can go to those levels of success but still be very kind of experimental,
like alternative experiment.
And the approach. I really like that sort of stuff. But
that really comes across in like, because I've heard so many of your backing tracks that like after every 4 bars or 8 bars something else comes in that completely catches you off guard in your backing tracks, and I just think that's so cool. I used to be really used to writing really structural songs with like a verse and a chorus and a verse and a bridge, and when I started working with you, obviously like the structure all came out, but it just sounded so much cooler. Like
interesting, because some of my songs I suddenly think, is that too structured? Is that? But then you'll do something on stuff, and I'm thinking, wow, that's totally that was a chorus. That's now become. So you're doing the same. You're kind of doing the same.
Yeah, we're like switching it up.
When you did Green Screen, I was not expecting you to put what you did where you did it. So really good. But I like tons of different artists. Tons of different stuff. How about you?
I was gonna mention actually, like when you were talking about this, like the switching structures, I really love Frank Ocean. Do you know Frank Ocean?
Oh God, you know what? He was on my list. That Channel Orange record.
Oh my God, yeah.
Super Rich Kids, all those kind of like so Sweet Life, Pyramids.
Really? I didn't even know you liked Frank Ocean.
Wow.
Whoa, he's like one of my favorite artists of all time.
Wow. This is just
well, it explains it. It explains how well we work together then.
And leaves. Hey, you've got a visitor.
I got a visitor.
We're in the middle of an interview and we've got an intruder.
Yeah.
Hi. You're on telly.
Oh, okay. Bye.
That's keeping it real. Imagine if that had been Frank Ocean.
Wow, that was a very likely situation.
How did you find using Logic? Because you started using Logic now, haven't you?
I'm in college and I take music tech, so I'm obviously being taught how to use Logic, which is good. I feel much better with someone actually teaching me how to use it rather than me just sort of messing around with it. So
I was thinking, actually, I was going to ask you, how did you find working remotely like this? Remember at first we were thinking it was difficult that you weren't in the room, when you're thinking, God, sometimes you just want to turn something up. Can you make it sound a bit more purple? And I'm thinking, what does she mean? Can you make that thing sound a bit more like it's underwater? I think you said. I'm thinking, oh, right, yeah, I'll just get the fish tank out.
I don't know. I think I heard a song and it sounded like the person was singing underwater. I think it was like the lower frequencies are just boosted so much and all the high end was cut off. I didn't know how to say it properly, so I was like, can you make me sound like I'm underwater or something? I've worked remotely with quite a few people as well, because obviously we can't go out. The good thing about it is that you can work with people all over the world, like with you being in India and I'm here in the UK. But obviously communication is really difficult. It's just like the little tiny things that you want to change, you're not sure about. It's quite hard to communicate that to someone. At least with what we've worked on, you instantly got the vibe and it just worked out really well.
Yeah, and I thought with this track that you're just about to put out, there was hardly any of that. It was kind of like, wow, we kind of got to that point where we just thought,
we're like, well, wow, it's done.
It was kind of, better get it mastered. It was interesting because I remember thinking, wow, it sounds pretty ready. But it was quite quick. I remember thinking, God, I better not play it you too quickly, else you might think I've done nothing on it. I've noticed you work quite quickly as well, where you can just go bang, bang, bang. You had a backing track. Can I download that? And then the next day, all this stuff's on top of it. So I'll think, right, oh God, I'll have to deal with that. Most of the work's done in that session. And then you think, right, now it's tweaks. But there wasn't that many of those with this, was there?
Like the strings in the chorus and like the punchy bits.
Your bells and whistles.
Sort of enforce those vocals. Wow.
Which was your idea, which was a great idea. It really worked though, didn't it, what you put?
I had an image in my head, which was like the chorus has to be really hard hitting. It's got to like hit at these points. I thought just add like cymbals, add strings, and it just worked out perfectly. I think if I listen to a song and I'm inspired by it, I get really excited and I just like do it all in like a few hours. I think Green Screen, when I finished it, I think I was just so excited. I just want to get it all out.
It's super melodic what you do. I think that's what I really, really liked about when I heard your stuff. To me, it's incredibly musical. It's really melodic. It's soulful. Your voice sounds great. I've not been using auto-tune, this kind of stuff. Actually, sometimes, when you've got 88 vocals, if one of them's a bit off, adds to that kind of, there's a really nice organic vibe.
It's kind of got that, the wall of sound vibe. All the instruments, all the harmonies, all combining, and even if some of them aren't like perfect, but it just sort of works.
I think if we started to chop around with everything and try and tighten everything up, it would sound a bit kind of too perfect or something, but it sounds perfect the way it is to me. Sometimes you think you have to fix everything in a computer these days because we can, but I think
sometimes it just works.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like Lana Del Rey. I don't know if you listen to a lot.
That was another person I was going to say. That list of people.
Yeah, like again, she's one of my biggest influences. And when I'm listening back to her tracks, I realize like not every note is in tune, not every vocal is on beat, but it just sort of adds to the whole vibe of it.
What's your favorite track by her? It's the track we should listen to right now. If we were.
That's so hard. Oh my gosh. Black Beauty is really good. Yeah. I really like Honeymoon because that's just so beautiful. It's got so many lovely harmonies, and
I can sort of hear that in especially in I See Us in Heaven even more.
Do you listen to like a certain genre of music?
There's nothing I wouldn't listen to really. Music's just, it's hard to describe, isn't it? I think Frank Zappa once said, writing about music's like dancing about architecture. You just can't do it. It is what it is. Or
that's actually really relatable because people are often asking, so what are your songs about? And it's really hard to describe in words because obviously that's what the song's for. Like the song tells you what it is. And
exactly. And if you gave it to 10 people, they'd all come back with different words.
And in a way, they're all right. I think it just depends on the listener. Whatever they think the song's about, that's what it's about for them. Music is more personal that way.
The song pretty much tells you what it is, I suppose. That's kind of... cool. Yeah, well, good luck. well, you don't need good luck. It is what it is. Enjoy. Yeah. Well, it's going to be a great single release for you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
And we're working on new things as well.
We are. In fact, I've got something right here on my big screen.
Do you actually? Well, I look forward to hearing that.
Yeah, I won't play anything now. Top secret.
I mean, you can. I can just cut it out.
Oh, yeah, you could do, couldn't you? Wait.
I love that. Cool.
Well, I better let you go. Well, we'll catch up another time. That's what we'll do. Yeah. And I'm always here, and I'm going to get straight back to work on your track. And
yeah.
All the best with all the other interviews you're doing, and we're looking forward to catching up again soon.
Cool.
Hey, Cathy.
See ya.